Hey there, it's Olivia-Savannah here from Olivia's Catastrophe, and today we're here for the last week of Gothtober. It's the very last week, and it's the last week. I'm going to do as many of the summer camp prompts that I can do, but admittedly I'm feeling a bit tired and worn out now. This month has been 100%. If you've been watching these vlogs, you know I've been doing lots of things, I've been going lots of places. I'm an introvert, okay? I need a day at home, and today I'm working from home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to talk to my sister on the phone during my lunch break. I'm very much looking forward to just being in my flat for a whole day, but the rest of the week it's gonna be eventful. So we're gonna have a fun time in this vlog and we'll just see what we can read, and there is no pressure whatsoever. But let me give you a bit of an update because we had some space in between these vlogs, a couple of hours, and I did some reading, and both of these are red books. Red sprayed edges, red cover. So I've been reading Tender is the Flesh and I am over the halfway mark now. And I feel like it's getting a bit, I need something to happen. I feel like so far, now that I've gotten over the queasiness and the horribleness of the whole situation and setup that this book has going for it, and then I've really been enjoying the atmosphere and seeing these really stilted relationships and seeing the darkness within people. I've been enjoying all of that, but now that I've had some time to get over my queasiness and I've had some time to feel that darkness of emotion that the main character's going through, now I need something more to happen plot-wise. So I'm hoping that at the next reading session or the next reading bits I do of this, it's going to give me something that will fulfill what I'm looking for. And then I've also been reading One of Us is Lying, which is a young adult. That is so young adult. Sometimes you just get that young adult book where it just feels just so young adult. There's no other way to put it, and this is definitely that. It's very much leaning into lots of the young adult tropes, and all of these characters are essentially stereotypes and they've got secrets, and lots of these secrets are things that I particularly don't enjoy reading about, or I can just tell that I'm not going to love what these secrets are. So there is that element to it, but also I have a ship. We have mentioned before in vlogs, as soon as I have a ship, I'm gonna see the book through to the end. I also want to choose the tea because I left it till the end last time and I don't want to do that. I want to have some tea. Where do I, oh, 14? Please tell me it's not 14. Yes. Oh, no. No. Okay. Okay, so the next one is 14. And it's peppermint and licorice. It says, a sweet and deliciously refreshing thrill. Minty cool, sweet with delight, the perfect post-feast treat. Which is a lie. I know it's a lie because I've tried this one before and it's horrible. It's absolutely disgusting. I don't mind licorice. I don't love licorice, but I don't mind it. I never buy it by choice, but if you hand me one, I can eat it. And I do like peppermint tea. I love a good peppermint tea. Love a good mint flavour. Putting mint and licorice together was a bad idea. I was so excited to have a tea. I was so excited. Well, I'll try this one on camera and you'll see me recoil from the first sip. Let's go talk to Simone. I am having a catch up with my sister. Hello, Simone.
Hey!
Also known as the other side to Olivia's Catastrophe, as you do all the subtitles.
Yes, I do. I was working on some subtitles right now before this call.
Do you have anything you want to say to the people? The people!
How can you deal with how fast she talks? She talks so fast.
I bet there are people who watch me on 2x speed, you know?
Let's just say she's not an easy person to subtitle for.
I love making you work hard.
Yes, I know you do.
But I've got one last question for you. Do you promise you'll say yes?
To what?
Remove the hood.
No.
Remove the hood. Reveal yourself. Sith Lord. Sith
Basically,
Lord.
it's a bit of an embarrassing hair day today.
Okay, I'll leave you in peace. Well, actually, I won't. I will be annoying when it's just us. we're going to do this standing today, so a bit of a reading update. Let's do this. So I've been reading some books which I want to tell you about. The first one I want to tell you more about is One of Us is Lying. I am halfway through and I'm having a very, very good time. I do think it's like very stereotypical YA, but at the same time I'm all up for it. I've buckled up for the ride, strapped in. If my ship doesn't survive, I'll be very upset. But yeah, I'm surprised by how good of a time I'm having with this. I do also think whether I like this book overall or not is largely going to depend on the plot twist. And I think with mystery books and thrillers, the plot twist, a lot rides on it. So let's see how that goes when I get further in, but halfway, all good, smooth reading times. I do think the author very much has favourite characters because they're getting a lot more time than all the rest of them. I also started this morning Stronger by Poorna. And this is a book that I wasn't sure I wanted to read at all, but now that I've read the prologue, the introduction, prologue and first chapter, I'm all for it and I'm curious to see what it's going to be like. I don't think it's going to be my favourite read by far, but it's still going to be interesting. The subtitle on this is Changing Everything I Knew About Women's Strength. It's a non-fiction book and it's about how her husband died and he was very depressed and committed suicide, and after her husband's gone, she decides that she wants to start training, she wants to start weightlifting, she wants to become stronger physically. And becoming stronger physically helps her mentally, and it's about her journey, but it's also talking about women's health, women's fitness, some of the barriers that women face into fitness and health. It asks people questions in surveys and we get to hear some of their thoughts and opinions, and it's just something that I didn't think I wanted to read, but now I'm more for it. And I am someone who works out, I'm someone who does yoga frequently, both of those things, it's one of my biggest hobbies, but I never felt a need to read a fitness book. I'm also happy to read books where people do basketball as a hobby or yoga as a hobby. So this is very much not out of my, I guess I would say out of my comfort zone. It was not my comfort zone, but it's just not something I would reach for, but I'm doing it, I'm getting there. I finished reading Tender as the Flesh, and overall I really enjoyed this one. I did think it was going to do something more. After the halfway mark, I just wanted something more. I wanted something more plot-wise, but I don't think this is that kind of book. I think this kind of fits into the classic style of writing where it's a concept or it's an idea. And when I was reading it and couldn't stop thinking about 1984, it's that same kind of thing where there's not going to be an amazing plot moment, but it's just going to be a steady progression and a steady character development. And I like the way it ended. I think I knew where it was going to end by the time that it ended. I thought it was going to accumulate with that, and it did, and it did it well, and it did it in a haunting way. I never stopped feeling horrified all the way through this book. Once I thought, okay, I'm kind of adjusted and used to this concept, it's horrifying, it would throw in another element, show me something that I hadn't seen before that's just, again, horrifying. There's no better word to put it. So this was a very good read. It ticks off my prompt for blood on the cover. And I haven't started yet, but I'm going to be starting Woman Eating. Tonight is my last reading sprint that I'm hosting on my channel and for Gothtober, and I'm so excited, but also I will be starting Woman Eating. And Woman Eating is this book about a woman who is a vampire. So she equally craves human blood as much as she craves the exquisite Japanese food that her mother has introduced her to, and she's kind of warring between these two desires. And I've heard that this one has a major content warning for something, which I'll leave in the description box down below, but I haven't actually started it and seen for myself yet. But yes, I have been meaning to read this one for a long time. Ever since I've got it, I've been excited, I've heard good things, I love vampire books, so I'll be getting started with this. But I'm on my lunch break for work, so I'm going to finish working, get ready for my live show, and then just read. Okay. Well, that's enough of that for the time being. So I'm here to close up this vlog. As you can see, I am drinking my last tea as we close it up on the 31st of October. It is unpleasant, okay? It is very unpleasant, but we're going to talk about some more pleasant things instead. So I have been reading in the last few days and I finished Women Eating by Kohda. I counted this one for my summer camp prompt of a gothic mood read because it's about a vampire. I think my opinion on this one is just feeling overall disappointed. I really like the concept and I think it could have done so much more with it, and I do think it was a bit wasted on this book. It's not that I didn't like the book, but I didn't like it either. It's one of those books where I have so little to say on it, so few opinion to give, and if you have a book that doesn't make me feel pretty much anything, then I just feel like it lost me and it was a bit of a waste. I was also really struggling on focusing on the book while I was reading it, and I was multi-reading, so I was reading other books at the same time and I was not having this issue with any of the other books. It was literally just this one where it was so uncaptivating that it could not capture my interest while I was turning the pages. So overall I'm just quite a bit disappointed by Women Eating in the end. But I did finish it this month, so that's done. I was also on Hannah's start to finish sprints briefly, and I finished reading One of Us is Lying by McManus, and the last time you saw me reading this I was really enjoying it, but ultimately at some point I figured out the plot twist, and then I really didn't want the author to make that plot twist the plot twist, but she did. And as I predicted, the plot twist did let me down on this one, and it's gone from being this is a very fun read to being this was meh. And I say meh because I did enjoy myself right up until the plot twist. I was having fun, it's stereotypical, it's overdramatic, and it's all that you want in a young adult, or all that you expect to get in a young adult thriller kind of book. And so before the plot twist, I would say that this book is what I would describe as a good time, but not a long time. You just want to read it, you just want to fly through it, you just want to turn those pages and enjoy the drama, but it's not going to be one that you remember for being amazing, or one that you're going to think is an all-time new favourite and hold close to your chest. I just had a good time reading it, but then the plot twist happened and I didn't like the plot twist, and I didn't like the way that it kind of dealt with the events afterwards, and I just feel like it could have gone in an entirely different direction. The solving of it wasn't even that dramatic. So yeah, it just really lost me by the end there. Will I read the sequel? Yes, because I did have a good time enjoying my process, even if it is not the best thing. I also read more of Stronger, which I will not finish this month. I'm going to carry this one over to November. I read 100 pages and that puts me a third of the way through. I am enjoying it. I think it's a very good book. However, I'm not actually learning anything new from this book. As someone who's been part of the fitness community, and especially part of the online fitness community, I used to have Instagram that was dedicated to fitness, clean eating and yoga, but I deleted it now. Not because I had any issues with the community or anything, it was just too many social medias for me. You know, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, it was just too much to have that extra one. So I do all of those things, but I just do them offline, and it's just for me. And so, of course, I read a lot of articles around this kind of thing. I am very engaged and follow a lot of people who talk about body positivity and fitness people and all of that. So I know all of these statistics and I know all of this research. So if you're someone who doesn't know any of this stuff and you want to look at it from a feminist perspective, I think this could be useful. But for me, I'm just feeling like I'm not actually learning anything because I know it, so it's not a useful book to me, but I still feel fine reading it because it's well written and it's well done. I do think I would have rather just had a memoir where it was about her own personal experience rather than one that includes all of this research and her personal experience is just the outer frame to what keeps this narrative together. So with work, I went to Letters Live, which is this thing that happens at the Royal Albert Hall, which is a massive hall that can hold a lot of people. And because of the book Letters of Note, which Canongate publishes, the publisher I work for, we're kind of involved in it in some way. And it was just nice to hear some of these letters. Some of them were quite funny and had me laughing. Others were a bit more sad and serious. And of course, there were different celebs and people reading out the letters. To me, the most important person that I saw there was Hassan Akkad, who read the first letter. He is the author of the memoir Hope Not Fear, which was one of my favourite memoirs that I read last year and such an important book. I highly recommend it. And he also, that night, 2 weeks before that night, became a British citizen, and he was a refugee. So it was just really nice to hear that and to kind of see where his story is at the moment and get to see him on stage. And I was also pleased to see Dolly Alderton there. I have not read any of her books, but I have one waiting for me on my TBR shelf. But of course, in terms of celebrities, there are a lot of people I don't recognise because I don't really keep up with celebrities that much. I'm very bad at recognising them, even if I've seen them in something before. But of course, there's Benedict Cumberbatch, who I obviously knew. And there was also Graham Norton, which of course, know who Graham Norton is. Then I went to my sister's place for brunch and my grandma talked about her experience with reading. Hi Grandma.
Hello, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm good. Are you going to tell us about books?
Oh, I love to read, especially one named Survive. I really get the thrill out of that one. And many, many more books. When I'm in Jamaica, I do a lot of reading. And sometimes I read like for a whole day on and off. Just go and have my lunch and come back and read my books.
And what do you do when it's very suspenseful?
Oh, sometimes when I'm reading book and I love it, what I do, I go to the end to see how it ends. And then I go back to the beginning but it's suspense that I have to say, oh my God, it is so good how this one ends. So I always go back, start at the end, and then go back at the beginning again.
Thank you for joining.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. And God bless you. Have a blessed day.
I contributed the banana bread that I baked, and Tamara made this rasta pasta, which was delicious. We played lots of games of Uno, and it was all a good family time. Came back in the evening and then had the Gothtober Slumber Party live show, which was just so much fun. You can watch it back if you want to, but we had loads of giggles and then felt very exhausted as we head up towards midnight and got a lot of reading done. And then the next day I went to Blogger Brunch, which was hosted by Black Crow PR, Tor Books, Through Book Break, and also kind of including MCM Comic Con. And so the Blogger Brunch was at an events floor, and it was nice to just meet some other creators and like book content creators across Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. So it was nice to meet new people, but also we got to have a bit of a round table kind of event where we got to meet some authors and we got to hear from people who are audiobook narrators and comic creators. And I think for me the two highlights, the ones that I really enjoyed talking to, was Travis Baldry from Legends and Lattes. I'm very excited to read Legends and Lattes. I won it in a giveaway, so once the book comes out, that pre-order will be coming to me. And then also got to meet this, I can't remember his name, but he narrates Judge Dredd in the Judge Dredd audiobooks, but he's also a stuntman for lots and lots of different things, and he was a stuntman for like the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, and he's the only one who's actually worn the expensive costume. And it was just so cool to kind of hear some of his stories about some of the films and projects that he's worked on. So I think those are the two highlights for me, and then of course meeting some other fellow Black content creators. And afterwards we were allowed to go around the con, and I'd never been to Comic Con before, so it's a bit overwhelming, the number of people, but the amount of costumes and cosplays, they were so cool to see. I just think my favourite thing was seeing the cosplays and how much effort people have put into them. My absolute favourite cosplay that I saw was the Mandalorian. If you don't know, I love the Mandalorian. Then tonight, so you're seeing this ahead of tonight because I'm not going to film in the dark, but tonight I'm going to the light party, which is something my church hosts every year on the 31st of October, and it's for the kids. So I help out at kids at church often. I love working with kids, and so it's a light party. They're all going to be dressed up in superhero costumes, and there's games and foods and snacks and things like that. And we as people who are hosting it have been asked to dress up, and I'm reusing the costume that we used to celebrate and surprise Simone on her 18th birthday. I'll leave a link to that vlog where we surprised her with a superhero themed birthday, as she is very superhero crazy. And so yeah, I was reusing my Supergirl costume and it was great. And then I have read more of Death Note. I read another 50 pages, and this feels quite cyclical because I started Gothtober reading the first 50 pages of this, and now I'm closing up Gothtober by reading the next 50 pages. And I do have a couple of hours tonight, but I sincerely doubt I'm going to have time to get any reading done tonight because I've got so many other things I need to do. And there you have it. That is the end of Gothtober for me. Thank you so much for watching along and joining with these vlogs. If you're wondering about the tea that I've been drinking here, the verdict still is, it is disgusting and filthy, and don't you dare try this tea. Like, I don't recommend it. Except if you love licorice, then give it a go. It might be more of your cup of tea. Anyway, I was saying goodbye, so please let me know in the comment section down below what is your favorite readathon to join in with, or if you haven't ever joined in with a readathon before, then let me know which one you would want to give a try. I feel like you're all going to be pressured to say Gothtober, but you don't have to. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and don't you forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video and you know what they say, onwards and upwards. Excelsior!